Support for the Players, the Pop Culturist PlayStation podcast, is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched the ultimate men's hygiene bundle, the Performance Package. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code FTP at au.manscaped.com. If my math is correct, and it might just be, that's about 8 million balls.
For the Players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast of 40 years of playing PlayStation and 10 plus years in that games media combined. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, you can. Come and check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below. If
you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures, where you can watch us record the show live. You can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you are watching us on the YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculture.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other sorted shit with our logos on it. Or you can help support the brands that help support us, just like Manscaped. If you head over to au.manscaped.com, use the promo code FTP, save yourself 20% off, and get yourself some free worldwide shipping. We'll have more things to say about that a little bit later. Now, for those playing at home, we are not streaming it live this week, Max, because it's been a busy weekend for the lot of us.
Yeah.
Like, we originally had plans to record on the Saturday. Now look, for those that are listening on the Monday, because all of you are, because we're not going live, none of this is relevant to you, because what does it matter? You didn't go live on Twitch. Well, I listen on Mondays anyway. Look, regardless. So, yeah, Max and I had a bit of a busy weekend. We had original plans to record on the Saturday, which then got moved, which then we're looking maybe earlier today on the Sunday. Nah, that got moved. And we settled at approximately 7 p.m. on a Sunday evening. But yeah, we've both been off doing things over the weekend. Max, where have you been? What caused you to delay the show? And then I'll tell you what caused me to delay the show.
Well, I had a trip up to Melbourne on Saturday, so yesterday at time of recording. My mum's back down to visit from Queensland, so we decided to pick her up, and because it was an early flight, we're like, hey, let's go to the aquarium. My kid's super into fish at the moment. She's all about that Finding Dory and that Finding Nemo. So, we went to the aquarium yesterday, and Hadley just did not give two shits about any fish that wasn't Dory.
Yeah.
You could find my kid the second you walked into the aquarium, because you could hear her be like, Dory! Yeah! And she was super pumped. It was awesome. She didn't care about the rest of the aquarium at all. And then on the way out, she bought this rad turtle.
Not even a Dory, like
no, it's like a bright pink squirt turtle from.
Okay. So there's still the connection.
There's still the connection.
All right, that's fair.
And she's been all about this turtle for the last 24 hours.
Yeah. So when I took James to the zoo a couple of weeks ago, he was the same with the spider and monkey that we bought, as I think we discussed. He just was attached to those things for a week. Very, very
that
good.
Was pretty cool.
How did you enjoy the aquarium? Obviously, it must have been great to see Hadley fucking love it so much.
Yeah, that experience was awesome. It was all right. It's only the second time in my entire life I've been to an aquarium. My first experience was an aquarium in Japan when I was over there, and they had a lot of to be fair, the Melbourne Aquarium had this, but it was very small. You have the section where you can walk through, and there's just tanks surrounding you, above you, and all that. That's cool. Whereas in Japan, all of it is that.
Oh.
you know, some of the cool interactive activities in the Melbourne aquariums, all right, but it was fucking packed.
Yeah,
like, no one was wearing a mask, and it was gross. And
yeah, you got COVID.
It is super. I mean, I was wearing a mask. It was like super not pram friendly. Oh, dude, it was a nightmare. Like, for instance, one of the because it has a below 2, below 1, a ground level, level 1, level 2. So we're like, oh, we'll take the pram down to the bottom and we'll work our way up. Now, these are like 3 people max in these elevators. They're tiny, and we got in, and we have the pram, me and Ali, because my mum and my sister have taken Hadley to walk because they wanted to walk. I'm like, that's cool. And then it's a double-sided elevator, so people from the other side walked in with their pram and a single woman, and then another family tried to fit their pram in and their 4 kids at once. I'm like, I just look at them, I shook my head, and I stood in front of the door. I'm like, you can't get in. There's not enough room. And then hit the door close button. I'm like, there's COVID. None of you fucks are wearing masks and personal space. And like, there's literally a sign that says 1 group per elevator ride. Like, fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
It's gross.
Yeah.
I mentioned I hate people.
If you didn't before, certainly a worldwide pandemic would do so.
Yeah. But apart from that, it was fine.
That's good.
Very expensive.
Oh,
yeah. It's funny. Like kids, like my kid got in for free because she's 2 and under. But then apparently, as soon as they turn 3, it's like $40. And it's like, okay, that escalated real quick.
Yeah. I guess 3-year-olds are more prone to breaking shit, I suppose.
Yeah. What did you get up to this weekend?
I had a bit of an interesting weekend. So Saturday, yesterday at time of recording, I took my son to go see Sonic 2. So he is a big fan of yes. I was trying to think of a funnier name, but mate, that kind of fucking nailed it. So because he really enjoyed the first Sonic movie, and he loves things that go fast for some reason, which I'm sure is only be a concern when he's a teenager. So I was like, cool, let's go to the movies. We haven't taken him to the movies since Toy Story 4, mostly because of pandemics. Also, because I know very well that my son would be the worst at sitting still.
Did you take him to the kids' theater at Village?
No.
They have like slides and play shit?
No, because he would have had...
He focused on that instead of the movie, and then...
Bingo. He'd run on the slide for 2.5 hours, or however long the movie was. So we went to just the standard Reading, which was fine. We got to see it off to the side, because I like to sit off to the side anyway. I hate being in those big fucking rows in the middle. I can't stand it. But yeah, the movie was okay. It sort of took what the first one did and added to it. You know, you see Tails and Knuckles. You know, the Chaos Emeralds get involved. It's cool. Like, you know, Jim Carrey's just chewing up scenery as he does, which is brilliant. Yeah, look, it's actually really good. I didn't like come out of it like ecstatic, but I was like, oh, it's a film.
It's a film.
Yeah, the CG was good. It was a bit long. But other than that, it was fine. James enjoyed himself for most part, but there was clearly a line when he went, and then started like not seeing his seat and whatever. And then about 5-ish minutes later, a bunch of other kids got in a very similar position. It was almost collective, like across the cinema as a bunch of children were just like, this is really too long for all the children. So that's cool. But he had also been awake since like 5:30 for some damn reason, and he was knackered. So he nearly fell asleep in the movie at some point. So then he obviously got his second wind, and that second wind was the energy. So then when we left, we got back, and he just proceeded to die on the couch because he was just cranky. So I was like, all right, cool. And then I get an SMS from Jem, co-host of The Young and the Wrestlers, when it does record. Shoots me a message going, hey, I have received a phone call this morning. I'm needed to MC a local promotion, the promotion in Geelong. I'm nervous as shit. Can you come? And I was like, I really wasn't planning on going. Like, I didn't really want to. But sure, look, fuck it. She's like, I'll get you on the door. She doesn't pay anything. I'm like, sick. I'm not paying anything. Fine. No harm.
My time is worth nothing.
Yep. Pretty much. I am worth nothing at the best of times. So my time is just as expendable and or useless. So went over, and what was supposed to be me just there to support Jem and just to watch the show, essentially went. So the two of the people that essentially the they are the standard ring crew for almost every wrestling promotion in the state. They're the ones that drive around. They drop the ring off and whatever. So it's the same ring crew or ring leads as DMDU, the show that I normally do. So the owner of this promotion was chatting to those ring crew. And they were like, yeah, look, shit, the people that were going to get to originally film the show, they've not been able to show up, whatever. I don't know what to do. And then because it's the same people as DMDU, like they know me. And Mel just looks over and goes, Ryan knows how to film stuff. I'm like, I do? Why? Next thing you know, I filmed an entire evening's worth of wrestling. I went there. Look, my time is so useless, worthless to me apparently. I didn't get paid. I didn't pay anything. I just gave someone my time I've never met before in my entire life. And then at the end of the night, I proceeded to help pack down the ring because I knew how to do it, and the other people there seemed a bit sloppy. So I was like, I'm just going to help you do it. So I just helped pack down a ring instead to get it done in like less time. So that was my Saturday evening. And then today, Sunday, is WrestleMania. WrestleMania Day 1. So I had friend of the show, Craig, Jem, Ange, friend of the show, at that guy Ange on Twitch, and Josh Saunders, ex For the Players host, and along with Dylan Bowden, former PopC member, creator, founder, along with Josh and myself. So it was good. It was like getting the gang back together. It was a ton of fun. It was really, really cool. The day one of Mania kind of hit better than it probably should have, if I'm being honest. Cody Rhodes did debut. So the former AEW EVP is now back at WWE, and it popped like crazy. It was awesome. Stone Cold Steve Austin had his what he's claimed to be his final match. So he never really got to have a final match. So when he retired 19 years ago, he did it based solely on health. They went, you can't wrestle anymore. So he didn't get a final match, just like, you can't now. Stop. So this is kind of his way of having a final match. So it was at WrestleMania. It was in Texas, where he's from. So it ticked all the boxes. And he went. Like, he did such a good job. For a dude that hasn't wrestled in, like, 19 years. Max, I don't know about you. If I stopped doing something for 19 years, probably never going to do it again. Especially if it's physically demanding. But no, Stone Cold Steve Austin did a fantastic job. So then tomorrow, I wasn't going to take the day off work for day 2 of WrestleMania. But then Craig goes, hey man, I've got annual leave for Monday for Mania. Can you get it off? And I happen to be sitting next to Paris, who's my boss. One of the co-creator of Gamer. So I turned to him and I go, hey man, can I have Monday the 4th of April off? He just looked at me and went, I don't fucking care. So I was like, sick. So, hey Craig, I got Monday off.
Monday, where the fuck are you?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been a lot of wrestling this weekend, which tends to be most of my weekends, if I'm being honest. This is mostly a lot of wrestling. But yeah, so that's kind of my weekend. And other than that, how have you been, man? Like, I know as you talked about last week, and you had a loss in your family and stuff like that. How are you this week?
Yeah, this week's been alright. It's just been a week.
Yeah.
Work's pretty hectic at the moment. But yeah, it's good. It's keeping me busy. But yeah, it honestly has just been a pretty regular regular week this week.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I've had a pretty gnarly brain week, so I'm just glad it's the end of it. But saying that, just because it's Sunday transitioning to Monday doesn't mean my brain will get any nicer to me. But yep, I have nothing else to add.
Daylight savings screwed me.
Yeah, fuck that noise.
I mentioned that because my kid woke up at 6:15 thinking it was 7:15, and then at 11 o'clock she got like irrationally angry, and then I realized now she's probably hungry because it's lunchtime for her now. And then tonight at 6 o'clock, because normally she goes to bed at 7 o'clock on the dot, at 6 o'clock she was just a cranky mess. I'm like, you are not going to bed now because she'll be up way too early.
Yep. Fuck daylight savings.
But the plus is it will still be dark when I get home tomorrow.
Rather than coming home and like as all bright. It's weird.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, but look, in some part of the week, Max, I imagine we sat down, we played some games. Now, I myself, I didn't play many games. I dived a little bit into Weird West, which we have talked about. We haven't talked about the game itself. We'll have more to say. Probably not this week. Very likely next week. We did have the game for a little while, but admittedly I'd been trying to get through Horizon, so I kind of was like, I'll get back to that, and then eventually the embargo date hit. I'm like, fuck, alright, we'll have to keep waiting, because I'm gonna need to get through Horizon, and then work got busy, and life got busy, and I just didn't want to play games. I didn't really want to do anything, so I was like, I'll get to it eventually. But I know you have dove back into Horizon Forbidden West as well. Now I've gushed, and I'm about 2 missions off the end now, like literally. So I'm very happy with where I'm going at it. But you did jump away because it wasn't landing for you. Has that changed?
I mean, I mainly jumped away because of Elden Ring, and now that I've finished with that, I've been dabbling in a lot of stuff this week, but Horizon Forbidden West is still not doing it for me at the moment. So,
are you getting better at knowing what it is that's not landing?
It's very much the fact that I want to the story. I still haven't gotten deep enough in the story for this plateau to have finished for it to actually be going somewhere. But I'm also I find myself not interested in a lot of the side quests. Like I find the auxiliary characters not overly exciting or interesting. That are just like the mundane NPCs in a that are like that. Hey, go kill this herd of X monsters, X robots, and then come back and I'll give you something. Because at the end of the day, you're just doing that to gain levels, to gain health, so you can go and do the next story beat.
Yeah.
So I've jumped in, and admittedly, I have now dropped the difficulty all the way down to campaign.
Yeah. Oh, you did mention that.
And hopefully that's going to alleviate the issue of every time I do a story quest, I feel like I have to do 4 side missions to keep of level.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just like the game's. Like, I enjoyed the first one, and this is more of the same, but for some reason, this is just not hitting me the way Forbidden West Zero Dawn did. And, like, the game looks stunning, the audio design is fantastic, you can kind of, especially in combat, you can know where everything is without actually having to look on the screen, or if the things are behind you, you can tell where behind you they are. I found some of the decisions of... the combat seems more straightforward now. Like in the first game, you seem to have been able to lay a lot more traps and trip lines than in this one. You seem very restricted. That's not too bad for me because, spoiler alert, I'm only using the disco stick as I refer to it. But yeah, it's just not hitting the same. And I'm hoping the story picks up, and I'm hoping that now the fact that I don't have to stop doing story content every what feels like 5 minutes to go and do arduous fetch quests, hopefully that will help me get through it. But yeah, I've maybe put an hour into it this week. I've spent a lot of time with Destiny 2, trying to reach that power level cap, doing all those pinnacle drops. all those exotic quests, all that fun stuff. I dove back into Returnal because of the new update. I've been playing a lot of multiplayer co-op Returnal, which is super fun. The Tower of Sisyphus is still kicking my ass. I haven't managed to break through the second phase, which is fine. I'll keep at it. It's one of those when I've got a little bit of time, I'll pick it up and have a run. And then lastly, I jumped back into GT to claim the free million credits that we got for all the server downtime and being unable to play the game due to it being a live service title. It's down for maintenance. It means you can't play it at all. The game's fine. I think I did the same thing as you. I fiddled with the assisted controls a little bit to try and get tighter times on some of those time trials. I still super want to buy a steering wheel. Even though I don't play the game enough to warrant it, I still want one. Yeah. I think I would be much better at the game with one. The game's cool. I bought a fancy car with my million, so a lot of the earlier races were kind of a cakewalk as they're all driving like Ford Focuses, and I have like this sweet Dodge Viper.
Just clearing the track.
They're like, race to win this Mini. I'm like, I've got this Mini easy. But yeah, other than that, I've kind of just been dabbling in this and that. It's been a pretty weird week. Rocket League had an amazing, and I'll use the term amazing very loosely, what I assume is a April Fool's Day mode where they turn your Rocket League car into a three-wheeler. So if you turn too sharply, your car just rolls.
All right. Why not?
Which is kind of cool. But yeah, other than that, I haven't really been playing too much. It's just been one of those weeks where I'm kind of like at the end of my day.
Yeah. I think it's the change of the season is a big part of that as well. It's been a bit of a shitty week. But yeah, look, as I said, outside of myself playing Horizon, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I'm right at the back end. I have seen pretty much everything. I have... what is fascinating, actually, in terms of the story, is who you think... I think I talked about this previously. Like, who you think the bad guy is, who the main villain is, at the beginning of the game. You learn very quickly that they're not. And then even at the end, when you confront who you thought was villain A, turns out they're fucking... so instead of A story villain, they were B story villain. Because you're like, oh... okay, the main story villain is this other individual. Okay. Then what was the whole fucking first part of the game for? It was just set up until these people arrived, I guess? Alright, cool. I still think the villains that are now the A story villain, I was like, oh, well, they are better and they are cooler, so that does check out. But, it's just like, yeah, the game's fun, man. Other than that, I'm playing a whole bunch. But before we do jump into the news, Max, there is a section where we got to hawk some shit. I have to press a button over here. Where is that button? Hang on. Where is it? Where is it? Where is that button? Am I looking in the wrong spot? I am looking in the wrong spot because it is, in fact, right. Nope. Could I fix it? Oh, no, I've just made it so much worse. Let me have a look. What have I done, Max? What have I done?
I don't know. You're in charge of pushing the buttons, mate.
I am. There we go. Done.
You have one job. Push the button.
Yeah. Look,
I don't know how you fucked that up.
I can tell you exactly how I fucked that up because I did.
Solid.
Yeah. It's as simple as that. I just did. Anyway, here's time for some ads. So recently... we were kindly being supported by the team over at Manscaped. That's Manscaped, au.manscaped.com. They have provided us a promo code for yourself, lovely people, listeners at home, to go and tidy up your front areas, etc., etc. So that includes the Lawnmower 4.0. Oh, it's not there. It's in my bathroom. Unrelated. It's not behind me.
Someone recently.
Someone. No, see, I think it's still in there. Because I don't know what I talked about last week. I tried to do my back hair with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just haven't put it back on the shelf. It's big.
Classic.
Yeah. So there's, of course, there's the Lawnmower 4.0, which is, one of the best precision devices to trim your body hair, not just your front area, as you see, your back hair, your face hair, your chest hair, your arm hair, your pit hair, if you were someone that did your pits, whichever. But of course, there is also the premium formulations, which is the shampoo, the body wash, the deodorant, the chapstick even. All those different things are there as well. Max, have you got anything to discuss about Manscaped this week, apart from us both shamelessly being branded today?
It's funny you mention it. I actually, this morning, my family and I, like my mum, my sister, and we took my daughter out to the trampolining place, and we were supposed to be going out for lunch afterwards, and, once you go trampolining, you get all hot and sweaty.
Yeah.
And we get back, and they're like, hey, we don't really have a lot of time. I'm like, look, I just need 5 minutes. Went into my bathroom, grabbed my crop mop, shimmied my sweaty ball, and I was ready to rock and roll. For context, the crop mops are Manscaped. They're kind of like, they're literally ball wipes.
They're moist towel. They're moist towelettes for your dick area.
Oh, they are so good. They are so good. They're they are.
They are the best thing for a post-trampoline afternoon.
Post-trampoline ball sweat. That's what they're good for.
If that's not the best sell, I don't know what is. But yeah, as we said, if you head over to au.manscaped.com, use the promo code FTP, save yourself 20% off, and get free worldwide shipping. You too could have a very quickly and kindly mopped down front area post your trampoline experience. Anyway, Max.
Seriously, they're really good.
Yeah. I have some.
All jokes aside, they are brilliant.
I have some. I've used them once, I think. But there we go. Anyways, let's get into the section called Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation. Max. Big one.
Yeah, let's kick off with the big news. There's an all-new PlayStation Plus coming, Ryan. After all the teasers, the leaks, and the semi, the pundits taking their stab at what it's going to be, Sony has officially announced what Spartacus is all about. As rumored, there are 3 tiers. Well, 4 technically if you live in a country that doesn't already have PlayStation now, but we'll get to that. First off, we have the PlayStation Plus Essential. This is the PlayStation Plus we have and love today. Same price, nothing's changing. Then we have the PlayStation Plus Extra, which is $40 US more a year, and it has all the bennies of the Essential tier, plus a catalogue of up to 400 of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games. These games will be downloadable to play. Then we have PS Plus Premium, which will be $20 US more than the Extra tier. We'll have all the bennies.
$60 US extra a year.
Yeah. We'll have all the bennies from the Essential and Extra tiers, and we'll add up to 340 additional titles, including PS3 games, streaming only, a catalogue of classic games from PS1, PS2, and PSP, download or stream, and we'll offer cloud streaming for PS1, PS2, PSP, and PS4 games that are offered in the Extra tier, but is only available in countries with PlayStation Now access. And lastly, they will also come with time-limited game trials. However, PlayStation Plus Deluxe is for all those countries, like us, without access to PlayStation Now. It will be the premium offering without the streaming capabilities at a reduced cost. There has been no word on what that reduced cost is. If you already have a PlayStation Now subscription, you will be converted to the PlayStation Plus Premium with no price change. This is set to launch in June.
So this is amazing. So this week, last week, there had been essentially 3 collective rumors that were going about. They're like, because even Kind of Funny, as Greg Miller, was like, hey, we're delaying our PlayStation pod because there are 3 stories that I've heard and I don't know when they're all dropping. I have reason to believe they're all going to drop before this date. Therefore, I'm going to go with it and we're going to hold the show. Turns out only one of them came to fruition, which was the announcement of PlayStation Spartacus, which is what it was originally called. PlayStation Plus Premium. It's interesting that it's pretty much beat for beat exactly what was reported months ago at this stage, which does make me wonder.
I think the prices were slightly cheaper then.
Yeah, I think they were actually, yeah. But even then, they would have been, they were kind of estimates anyway.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's pretty much exactly what we expected. It's good to hear that they are taking into account people like us here in Australia who don't have PS Now, which I all think is still kind of weird. We must have a cumulative average better internet now than we ever have before. Like, xCloud's here, right? So why can't PS Now be? But also saying that, though, I fucking have no interest in streaming games to me. I fucking download them. I'm going to download them. And the only key reason is because the PS3 cell architecture was so stupid that they literally cannot emulate it efficiently outside of emulation. Outside of like hardware emulation, which is essentially what they're doing. By streaming it to you, they're emulating it on essentially a bunch of PS3s jammed in a warehouse somewhere.
I think I made a joke that there was like billions of PlayStation 3 sitting in a warehouse running your PS3 games on PlayStation Now for you.
It's like you say that, but it's also almost exactly how it's being done. So that's kind of cool. It's interesting that your PS Now. If you have PS Now, it bumps you up to PS Plus Premium. All right, cool. So it just goes, yeah, you already got it. Here you go. So like for us, I guess
there's separate entities anyway, because you still have to pay for PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now on top of it.
Yeah.
And it's probably equates out to being the same cost as what Premium is.
Yeah.
So they just roll your services into one.
Yeah, look, and that part's pretty cool. If you're already paying for it.
What my big question is I think I have about 3 years worth of PlayStation Plus at the moment. Because every time it goes on sale, I'll buy a year because I know I'm going to use it. So is there going to be an upgrade option where I pay a couple of $2 to upgrade to the next tier? Or am I going to have to like cancel my membership type thing, get a refund to my wallet and then repurchase it? Or
I
wonder what that stitch is going to be.
What I foresee is more than likely you have X amount of PS Plus dollars accumulated. How you choose to distribute that is up to you. So you can go in there and go, hey, you've got 3 years of PS Plus Basic, bitch, up your sleeve. What's it called? PS Plus Essential. So you have PS Plus Essential sitting there ready to go. However, if you choose to upgrade to PS Premium, you are going to have
you'll lose half of it.
Yeah, it's going to go to 1.5 years. You're like, oh, okay, well, it gives me an estimated renewal time, etc., etc. That's how I see it doing it from a dollar value. That's fine. The big question, though, Max, because obviously the major selling point here of these upper tiers is all in that backwards compatibility. What do you need to see in this game library to make it worth your dollars?
I think that's the other thing. Like, I always have this, I'd love to play this again, but I don't. I very rarely go to my back, my back catalog of games that I've played before to replay them. And like, as much as I love to say that I enjoy story over like visuals more, they just don't look pretty anymore. And it's hard to be like, yeah, I'll totally go back and play.
But it's also, it's not just visual. It's just quality of life improvements that games have received since they came out. Like, what was 25 years ago? Games are very, very different.
Until I see a list of games coming to the service, for now, I think I'm going to stick with PlayStation Plus Essential.
Look, I'll give it a go at least the first month or so, but fuck it. Let's pump it up and see how it goes.
But then the other thing, the extra tier gives you access to PS4 and PS5 games. Like, there's not that many PS5 games out at the moment, like exclusive games.
Yeah, I think it's more of an ongoing.
And I know that in the lineup, there was, I think I put it in our chat. I forgot to put it in the news section. But I believe that they have named some of the titles coming at launch. And that will be Death Stranding, God of War, Marvel's Spider-Man, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11 and Returnal. Now, they're pretty good games. Obviously, none of them are new, but they're not exactly... It's nice to see a lot of first-party titles in that list.
Yeah, so essentially what came out of this was that unlike Xbox Game Pass, Sony will not be doing the day-and-date releases of their first parties, which to me, perfect sense. I still agree that is the best decision for them to make. The perception that Sony must do that in order to be competitive is simply wrong. Because I have said it before, and I will say it again. I do believe that the day and date does actually devalue a lot of games. I believe it not in a literal dollar sense, but I mean in terms of a public perception. And I do believe in a market like this, perception is king. In that first week, those first couple weeks. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some games that people wouldn't have touched, but they did because it's on Game Pass. But I'm starting to feel that's becoming less and less prominent. Like Ape Out did it, Outriders sort of did it. I'm sure there was other ones, but you know what I mean. Like that the idea that like, oh, something cool will come to Games Pass, and because it's free, we'll all play it and we'll all love it. Less and less, I feel that's becoming a thing. So it almost to me goes, all right, well. People are using it just to not buy the games that they normally would. They're not using it to be that curated system that they thought that they once believed it to be.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's just my own opinion and probably very much accidentally biased mindset. Because I guess because of my echo chamber and the people that I associate with, I'm not seeing them talk about it. So I can't talk about the greater, bigger consensus, of course. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's part of it anyway. But, look, for me, if I can play old Metal Gears again, sick. That's a big one. The old Silent Hill games, big ones, tick.
Again, if they're on the list.
If they're on that list. Now, of course, the only one that bums me out is I want to play Guns of the Patriots again, which is the PS3 one. I can't play it here. Ball bags. Goddamn PS now. All right, Max. Let's move it on.
Just for funsies, these next two stories are like meshed together.
These two?
Yeah.
So
if you want to take both of them.
Oh, the rumor mills? Yep. All right, Dunskies. Yeah. All right, so as we mentioned at the start, Max, there were a number of different stories that were rumored to be happening this week. One of them was that PlayStation were looking at acquiring. So in a rare podcast appearance, PlayStation boss Jim Ryan had promised that more acquisitions were planned. This follows heavy rumors early in the week, as I just mentioned, from industry pundits Greg Miller and Jeff Grubb, in which they alluded to, quote, a really big, end quote, buyout. Ever since Microsoft purchased Bethesda a couple of years back, companies have been racing to acquire studios for their empires, which has resulted in Sony snagging developers like Bungie, Housemarque, and more. Quote, we're growing through acquisition, end quote, he told the PlayStation Blogcast. Quote, we've acquired 5 studios through the course of 2021, and we're in discussions with Bungie, and we have more planned, end quote. More recently, PlayStation bought Canadian developer Haven Studios, although it had already signed a publishing agreement with the Jade Raymond-led team. But these rumor mills, Max, as we touched upon. Speaking as part of Kinda Funny Games' Daily, both Miller and GamesBeat scribe Jeff Grubb claim to have heard about the same thing. Grubb explained, quote, the third one is very difficult to pin down because people can get word on acquisitions, but those who actually know are usually bound to not say anything, end quote. As the conversation develops, Grubb explains that he's heard it's big, and Miller interjects, quote, so we're sharing information here, but I've heard from 2 separate sources, one of them being a pool of people, that it's big. That it's really big. So it's like, okay, I'm going to delay the PS I Love You podcast and see if it happens this week, end quote. Max, who do you think it is?
Honestly, I don't know. I would love to see being the huge Square fan I am, I would love to see them acquire Square. I don't think that that's the case, although a few people have pointed out, I think it was Player 2's Paul James, on the back end of Square saying that all their games have underperformed and haven't met expectations. The timing seems ripe for them to be swooped up and pulled under the wing, but yeah, it's really hard to tell. You know, who else is left? Who else is out there that not only that would benefit Sony in a way, but would also be the right price?
So this is something that we speculated in the chat that we have on the Facebooks. The one that came up was Warner Brothers. Now, this comes on the back of obviously having a Hogwarts Legacy state of play, kind of indicates something, really. So outside of first parties or second party exclusive deals, Sony really hasn't done any super focused state of play. So that is an alarm bell. Well, not an alarm bell, like a kind of, that's a little bit of smoke. Is there fire? And with the original plans from a year ago of AT&T really wanting to move Warner Brothers games. And they tried everywhere. Apparently there was a bunch of debate and people throwing money around. But no deal seemed to land for some reason, which is a bummer, but there you go. So I'm thinking it could be that. Now, I say that because with the loss of the Lord of the Rings license to Amazon, I believe, that suddenly decreases the value of WB's potential. Like, Lord of the Rings is a huge license. Therefore, I imagine whatever price they were to pay, that would be a big part of it. Now, understandably, the Harry Potter or the Wizarding World license would be huge here, in conjunction with the DC license. You know, when you're working off the back of like the Arkham games, the upcoming Suicide Squad game, Injustice as well. You know, NetherRealms, which would be gnarly considering PlayStation.
You're now a part owner in
Evo. Yeah, having their involvement in the fighting community, having Mortal Kombat involved would be, NetherRealms involved would be awesome. There's also the TT games, which are the Lego games. That's pretty cool, but by the sounds, it looks as if there has some potential for Lego licensing to go away as well. There was something originally with 2K and Lego we talked about the last couple of weeks. So, like, the more you break it down, the more you go, okay, well, maybe Warner Brothers isn't worth as much money as you thought it was. It would be a huge pickup. I say that if they were, I would heavily speculate that they would treat it in the same way that Destiny and Bungie have been handled. Now, we understand that Bungie did that as per their request, but now that request has been made, that suddenly opens a very specific door that anyone that can go there can negotiate that. Or maybe that's even part of the selling point now. Because what we're seeing is that Sony's approach to acquisitions is actually different to how Xbox and Microsoft are handling their acquisitions. Where previously they were like games for everyone, they are now buying, they are now holding it to their chest. Sony, whose original business practices were that, appear to be going in a different path. Either they're not choosing to acquire a bunch of people, which we know to be true, and instead focusing on smaller teams like the Housemarques, etc., and your Nixus and potential ones like Haven. And then with Bungie, one of the biggest acquisitions they've ever had, keeping it multi-plat, keeping it third-party-ish. Do you see them doing the same here? Even if they were to pick up Square, even if they were to pick up FromSoft, as an example, I've heard that one rumbling around as well.
FromSoft is owned partially by a Chinese company, I'm pretty sure. So I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, that's one that I heard the rumbles of, though.
I don't think so. I think Bungie has enough pulling power to be like, we're staying multi-platform, and you can either take it or leave it. I wonder, because I guess it depends on who approached who for that acquisition. Like, did did Bungie go to them and say, "Hey, we want you to invest in us, but this is going to happen," or did Sony go to them and say, "We want to buy you," and Bungie had the power of negotiation in that setting and went, "You can, but here are our terms." Like it depends on what that situation is, and because obviously, especially with Destiny being such a community-driven game, it would have hurt Bungie as a whole to be like, we are now exclusive to this platform.
Yeah.
And that seems counterintuitive to what they would be wanting to do. Whereas, if they purchased Warner Brothers, a lot of those games are... I wouldn't say a lot of those games are multiplayer, but there are certain amounts of both single-player and multiplayer games. I would imagine were only third-party because they were a third-party... They were only everywhere because they didn't have that relationship with either of the big players. So now that if they were to get purchased by PlayStation, they could, in theory, become an exclusive without too much difficulty, I think.
Yeah, so I'm just having a look at what they own. So a big part of it is the Batman Arkham series, the Fear series, Injustice, Lego, Middle-earth, Mortal Kombat, Scribblenauts. The studios include TT Games, which are known for the Lego, Rocksteady, which is known for DC, Portkey, which is the big part of the Harry Potter, NetherRealms, Mortal Kombat.
So the only
Monolith, Avalanche Software, which did, they're doing the Harry Potter game currently, but they also did like Disney Infinity and the Mad Max game.
So the only two games there that are multiplayer are the two fighting games, which probably wouldn't take too much of a hit from becoming exclusive.
Well, I guess like the greater discussion there is more around like, do they want to be that guy?
And I don't think Warner Brothers has the power that Bungie has to negotiate that into their buying contract. If they're the ones
also,
that are under this.
We should point out that in terms of upcoming games, they have that Wonder Woman game that was announced. They've got Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, of course. The Multiverses is one coming. Hogwarts Legacy, Gotham Knights, Lego Star Wars just dropped. Back for Blood, they were the distributor for, I believe. Yeah, there's a lot.
And when you've been trying to be sold for like the better part of the last 2-3 years, you probably don't have that much bargaining power.
No, like yeah, it's one of those things. Like if they would have had bargaining power if they didn't try to move so hard before, like that's the big giveaway. It's it's like Platinum now. Like, you know how we were talking about last week, Platinum were like, "Oh, can someone buy us? Please, someone buy us."
Didn't you hear Platinum announced 9 new games this week?
Really?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
2 days ago, actually.
Ugh. But I mean that in terms of like, so they're doing that pitch, and then suddenly goes, "All right, well, how much are you worth it?" They go, "Oh, we're worth this much." Like, no, you're not. You've been trying to sell yourself for like 6 months. Can't be shit. If you're worth what you think you're worth, then someone have already bought you. Let's negotiate. But yeah, I was also complete side note. The other thing was about PSVR 2. That was the alleged third story, and blog dropped, I believe, at PSVR 2.
Possibly.
Yeah, not a whole lot new info though. Nothing groundbreaking. But we'll talk about PS Plus before Max. It's not happening till June. What
my story?
I am. I'm fucking trying to segue for you. So the idea is, look, we're not coming until June. What do we get this month?
Look, the April PlayStation Plus titles are Hood, Outlaws and Legends for PS4 and PS5, Slay the Spire on PS4, and SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, which is already available to download for free. A very uninspired month this month.
Look, SpongeBob,
although
ton of fun.
In saying that, Slay the Spire is one of my favorite games of all time. If you're a fan of roguelike games and card-based combat, Slay the Spire is great.
Yeah, SpongeBob is great. I had a lot of fun playing it with the kid. Hood, you picked up.
Yeah, I've had Hood for the better part of like, I think I bought it like day after it released. I played maybe 3 games of it. It's this weird capture the flag Robin Hood style game. I thought it was going to be
Better.
I thought I was going to enjoy it way more than I did. Hopefully now it's easy to find a game.
Yeah, with a bunch of added players, that's certainly going to happen.
Yeah, and lastly, I'm going to steal this one because we amalgamated two stories for you,
Nice.
and I've literally put one sentence of dot point. Sony has filed a new trademark in Japan this week for knack. Fuck knack.
Look, knack's fine. I don't engage in the meme like Knack is the greatest game of all time. Well, not for me, but cool. I think Knack did have the potential to be a really cool mascot. I think it was missing a lot to really hit into the echelon of a mascot. But what are you gonna do? It's cool.
Astrobot came in and stole Knack's thunder.
It really did. It really did. But that does mean, Max, that I get to do them quick bitties.
Yeah, that's fine.
GTA 5 will be getting a physical next-gen release this month. So for those of you that want GTA 5 on your PS5 or your Xbox...
It's still currently cheaper to buy digitally.
Yes, very much so.
I think it'll be cheaper to buy digitally after the initial sale wears off too.
I'm going to come back to this one. Apex Legends PS5 version is out now.
Just skip to the bottom.
Yep, I'm going to back upwards. Persona 5 is leaving the PS Plus collection on May 11th. No reason has been provided. However, it could be potentially to replace it with Royal.
Which would make sense.
Or also Persona 5 coming to Xbox and Switch confirmed. Not really. Not at all. Don't say that. New PlayStation Studios Firesprite is hiring for a AAA horror game. Oh. Hashtag Silent Hill. E3 is completely cancelled. No physical or digital presence this year at all. Eat a dick. Okay.
Hey, get ready for the longest quick bit of your life.
And finally, abandoned dev Blue Box Games says the game is still totally happening after missing the Q1 demo announcement. Now, this is on the back of today, time of recording, the release of an episode of Sacred Symbols Plus. That's Colin Moriarty's PlayStation podcast, where he interviews Hassan Karaman and fuck this guy. Not Colin. Colin's cool. Fuck Hassan Karaman. Number of reasons. One, he's a full of shit and a giant scam artist. And two, he can't interview for shit. So for someone that's supposed to be this smooth head of the studio, he cannot complete a sentence. In the space of 30 seconds, he said basically no less than 20 times. Which is disgusting to me for a number of reasons. Like, I'm going to have a side tangent for a minute. There are a number of reasons why I don't like the term basically. These are my reasons. One, it's a filler word. It's a word, when people can't quite think of what it is, they use it as the filler. And without thinking of the connotations of what basically means. That's my point two. Using the term basically inaccurately makes you look arrogant as fuck. It makes you look like in order for the person you're speaking to understand what you're saying, you have to go, look, basically it's this. Which implies that I think you're not smart enough to understand what I'm saying. Thirdly, if you say basically and you don't back it up with the simplified version of something, you just also look like a fuckhead. If the conversation is, look, quantum mechanics is basically this, and then you proceed to say what quantum mechanics is in its scientific definition, you have not provided a basic understanding of quantum physics. You just don't know how to phrase correctly. I have such a problem with the term basically. It's actually a trigger word for me. So bad. And I hate it. And then to hear him go, oh, basically, basically, but he said it no less than 3 times in one sentence, in one phrase. Like if you were to write it out, commas and all, it would be so. I can understand he was nervous because Colin has gone on the record saying that if I get to talk to Mr. Karaman, I'm going to fucking grill his face in, which by all accounts he appears to have not done in the interview. He does. He presses on some buttons and sort of doesn't, without like calling him a lie to his face, you know. But he also, because you were talking about if you were to play the But game, you would be hammered in 8 minutes. The interview is disgusting. Like if he wanted to have this interview in order to try and make himself not look like an incompetent boob, he failed instantly.
And he just said a whole bunch of nothing, really. Like he opened up with like his first statement was, "I appreciate being able to come on here. I want to be clear. I want to be open and be transparent." And proceeds to not be that, like instantly.
He's full of shit.
Yeah, it's a hot mess.
Because
Colin points out the fact that he's like, it's been almost an exact year from the time that the PlayStation blog dropped and when the first teaser or whatever it was released. And in the blog post, it was your original plan was to have this game out in 2021. It is now a year later in 2022, and all we've seen is a 5-second teaser that was 10 gig.
Mm-hmm.
And he has no answer. He was like, oh, gamers. It's what did he say? Obviously, what I'm going to say is a paraphrase, but it was similar to that of, I don't think it's ready to be shown yet, and gamers will always remember the first thing they see of a game, and if it looks rough now, they're going to assume it's going to be rough forever. Or something not exactly in those words, but something to that effect.
No, lying to everyone for the better part of a year is what will make the game look rough. The fact that you have spent the better part of that year hyping the absolute shit out of a game that you have delivered nothing on is part of the reason it will look rough. He has created the noose to hang himself with.
And
that's what he has done.
He makes a side comment of, I don't want to make any promises, and Colin cuts him off saying, it is my personal opinion that you should not make any more promises.
No, not at all. I forgot that this was a thing. And that's what he should have been done. The fact that he keeps like coming out to stab himself is insane. Like, I understand that Sony may have got at the same, they may have been tricked in on this as much as anybody else. Really, they might have.
Well, that was the other thing they talk about. They talk about what piqued Sony's interest to begin with, and he's like, when you did in the report with Jason Schreier, you stated that it was after a failed Kickstarter that Sony seemed interested. He's like, I never said that. I'm like, and Colin was like, well, that's what the quote is in this article. Like, it says that this is what you said. He's like, oh no, I never said that. So it's very hard to know what's going on.
Hi, Silent Karaman, how you doing? Ryan, host of For the Players podcast. I'm no expert, but shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. The only time that you need to speak from now on, Mr. Karaman, is look, I'm respectfully calling Mr. Karaman. Is the only reason that you need to speak is to either reveal the game or to admit that you fucked up. Admit, like it just, even if it's simple as, look, I am way over my head. I made checks I couldn't cash, and I'm so sorry. Either you do that, you deliver, or you shut the fuck up. Until then, fuck off. You are wasting your time. You are wasting everybody's time. Fuck off. Yours truly, this guy. But apparently there is a game coming out this week, Max.
Yeah. upcoming titles this week. Chrono Cross: The Radical Dreamers Edition coming to PlayStation 4 on April 7th.
Hey.
I'm pretty sure MLB The Show drops.
It does, 5th.
In like a couple of days,
2 days.
but I'm fairly sure it was in last week's list.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so if you did...
Classic me reading ahead.
Yeah, so if you got the Big Fancy Pack edition, you get it 3 days early. 4 days early. So you would have got it on the 1st of April, where for all you other plebs, you get it on the 5th. But of course, so PlayStation Australia not giving us any of those top 10 lists for whatever reason, because I just don't fucking care anymore, it seems. That does bring us to the end of the show. So thank you everyone for joining us once again. Very quick one this week. One real big bit of news. And
it was just like super Sony heavy, and then just a bunch of little bits that didn't really have too much to sink your teeth into.
Yeah, but that's all right though. Either way, thank you so much for your time. Hope you all enjoyed it the best you could. And if you too want to tell Hassan Karaman to fuck off, make sure to let me know. Max, where can they find us to also shit on Hassan Karaman?
Well, everyone, this PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to join us in future conversations, you can. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join us as the conversation happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures, where you can watch us record the show live. You can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopcultures, as well as our merchandise store across.com/shop. You can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Or you help support the shows, the brands help support us, including Manscaped at au.manscaped.com/ just that one, and then just go use the promo code FTP, save yourself 20% off, and get free worldwide shipping. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was For the Players.